What is up guys, it's your boy Soul. I'm here, back with another World of Warcraft video for the War Within. This time we're checking out another profession on the War Within Alpha, and today we're checking out skinning, another gathering profession. This one is absolutely juicy, and it's looking even better in the War Within. Now once again, this is based on alpha gameplay, things might change, in which case you can test it yourself on the beta in a few months, or we can have a further discussion about it in the comments down below, and you can feel free to update me as well in the comments down below when that time comes, if anything is changing. Now, I am a gold farmer and a gold maker, so I'll be tying these professions into gold making as well, and leaving some tips and tricks that I want to use for these professions in the War Within. Now, as I mentioned, skinning is looking really good. It's a lot of the same that we had in Dragonflight, with a couple of new things as well. So looking at the journal, first of all, we have the same things. You can loot different types of skins, and we have finesse, which gives you a chance to give more leather basically. Then we have deftness, increasing gathering speed, and perception, giving you more rare reagents while gathering. Now you can also learn to refine, so you can turn lesser qualities into a higher quality, so you can do that as well for both chitin, hides and leather, and then we can make bait and lure recipes, just the same as we had in Dragonflight. Now, with that overview done, let's take a look at the specializations. So we have tanning, harvesting and luring. Looking at the talent trees for tanning, this one focuses on giving you more skill while skinning in Castle Gar. So for this one, you will get +1 skill while you're skinning, and you'll learn to sharpen your knife, a long cooldown ability. Doing so will guarantee a hide from the next creature that you skin, and you will learn that one by just, I'm just going to learn this one now, so I can see the cooldown on this. So sharpen knife. If we take a look at this, we have sharpen your knife. It's a 1 hour cooldown, and you can guarantee a hide whenever you're using this one. So for this, you will first of all get 1 skill for every single point you spend, and you can unlock some additional bonuses as well. So +5 deftness, you learn how to refine, so you can make like tier 1 into tier 2. +5 finesse, gaining a second charge or sharpen your knife, +5 perception, learning how to refine even more right there as well, +5 deftness, and getting a third charge of sharpen your knife. Now the question here that I have is, will they be 1 hour cooldown, so like in 1 hour I get 1 charge back, or will I get all 3 charges back in 1 hour? That's basically my question. But we also have, after you have gotten this one for 40 skill points, you can either specialize in leather or chitin. For concrete chitin, you will get 1 skill while skinning scaled creatures in the Dragon Isles. Well, this should be the War Within. In the War Within per point in the specialization, so focusing on chitin or scaled creatures. On this one we have leather, so you can, while skinning leather users in Castle Gar, you will get 1 skill point. Now in the past, the best one to choose here, you would max out tanning for the overall skills, and then you would go to leather for the additional skill points in leather as well. Now in harvesting, on the other hand, we have a lot of the same as here as well. So first of all, we have harvesting, giving you more deftness and finesse whenever you're skinning. In general, just general skinning increase right here, and learning some bonuses and subspecs while you're going through this. Now for subspecs, you can focus on either fishing friend, meat carver or trophy taker. For trophy taker, you have a higher chance to gather specific creature reagents from the creatures of Castle Gar. So basically you will have a couple of different skins that I might even have in my bags right now. Think about the Bottled Storm, think about the Sunless Carapace, think about the Thundering Hide, think about the Kaheti Swarm Chitin, maybe not the Orbinid, that's a herbalism thing. So all of these different types of skins, even this one, the Honed Bone Shards, all of those, maybe even this one as well, nope, that's basically it, right? Even the Cinderbee Scales. So all of these are rare, specific, or species-specific materials gathered from certain creatures. You will have a higher chance to get those while you're farming. Now, I made the mistake of going for this in Dragonflight. It turned out not to be the move. It could be the move in the War Within, but based on what we learned from Dragonflight, this would not be the move. Now, when it comes to Meat Carver, you can learn how to find more meat from the creatures that you skin. So, literally, you carve meat, do a long cooldown ability, and doing so will guarantee some meat from the next creature that you skin. On the other one, you can learn how to craft lures. So fishing lures specifically, you have Spectacular Rainbow Fish Lure, you have the Quiet River Bass Lure, Dornish Pike Lure, you have the Arathor Hammerfish Lure, and then you have the Roaring Angle Seeker Lure, basically focusing on using leatherworking to make all the lures we have right here, that you can then sell on the auction house. Like, they're not bound on pickup, they're BOE, you can sell them on the auction house and make some gold that way. That being said, the actual barrier to entry on that one will be very small, so I wouldn't expect this to be a really insane way to make gold. Looking at luring though, luring is going to be the same thing that it was in Dragonflight. So you have luring, making you able to craft elusive creature lure. You can place them outdoors in Castle Guard to lure elusive creatures out of hiding, and then you will just learn some actual bonuses, get +1 finesse while skinning per point spent, and right here you can learn how to craft the Beast Lure Scent, luring in all unoccupied skinnable beasts to you. Then you will have some more bonuses, and at the end, the amount of cooldown refunded for your elusive creature bait through skinning is doubled when skinning elite and rare creatures. After that, you can go into Trained Tracker, which basically all of the way here, it reduces the cooldown, or it gives you more cooldown reduction whenever you're skinning. So the cooldown of making the bait and placing the bait will be even shorter. And here we go, your skills grow. You can now learn the elite elusive creatures of Castlegar, and then the amount of cooldown refunded, like basically every single time you will get even more cooldown back, and at the end you have learned all there is to know about luring the elusive creatures of Castlegar. You can now make the Supreme Beast Lure for summoning a powerful creature in a specific location. In addition, you can summon rare creatures hiding in specific places as well. In addition to that, if you are going to go for the lures, you also have the ability to infuse your lures. So here we go, learn to infuse your standard lures with crystalline powder, and then you will get even more cooldown back whenever you're skinning. Learn to infuse your standard lures with iridescent spores. Deafness, the amount of cooldown is given more. At the end, you can learn to infuse your standard lures with ridding samples. So it's basically based on infusing your lures to give you more of the different types of elements out there. So you can do the crystalline, you can do the iridescent, and even do the ridding. All of them depending on what you want to get from your infusions. So for example, this one right here places the bait, luring an elusive creature after a small amount of time. Who knows what might show up. The cooldown of elusive creature bait is lowered by skinning creatures in Castlegar and has a 12-hour cooldown. That being said, whenever you're skinning, this cooldown gets significantly lowered, and as you can see, you need 1 sample to make this, and the elusive creature lure, which you can also make through the elusive creature lure right here, which you need basically beef. Basically beef to make this one. So, if you want to go for lures, you want to have, first of all, luring, and you want to have both of these. So if you want to go for the luring route for skinning, you will need to have 120 points, all spent in luring, and after that you also want to go into tanning to get some skill points to allow you to get a higher amount of leather, or a higher tier of leather whenever you're skinning, because as we just talked about, when you go into luring, the amount of cooldown refunded for your elusive creature bait through skinning is increased by a small amount, and we get this one several times. So what you want to do is craft a bait a powerful creature, infuse the bait with some good stuff, and then in order to get the cooldown to be reduced, you have to go out and skin. And while you're doing that skinning, if you have tanning and you have some skill points, you will get tier 2 or maybe even tier 3 leather and make way more gold in the quote-unquote downtime of your bait. Now, I do want to say that you could make an argument for going into harvesting and going trophy taker as well, which there very well might be an argument for. It really depends on what is pricing in the War Within and why. But for example, in the Dragonflight, at the beginning of the Dragonflight, I made a little bit of gold on some of the rare species-specific materials, but for the most part they dropped in price very fast. So for the most part I made a lot more gold by getting rank 3 of the regular hides. So for example, we have the Thunderous Hide in the War Within. This is the rare material we have access to with skinning, which is acquired by players with a skinning skill, and can be bought and sold on the auction house. Now, in order to get this one in rank 3, you're gonna have to have the highest amount of skinning skill that you can, so you would have to go into skinning or tanning to get 1 skill per point spent for 40 skill points, and you want to have luxurious leather, because the hide, the Thunderous Hide, is a leather, while the Sunless Carapace is basically made of skin from people that have the other one, like scaled creatures. So you want to focus on leather, you want to max this one out to get even more skills while skinning leather, and then you want to find a hyperspawn farm with leather beasts to be able to farm these hides. In addition to that, you need to have a high rank or high tier profession tool, high tier profession accessory, or 2 of them, with as much skill points as possible. Focus on the skill points aspect there to be able to guarantee rank 3 whenever you're skinning. Either way, that is basically what I have for you on the skinning front. Like, at the end of the day, skinning is all about finding beasts, killing them and skinning them, and then you can just use these professions to dive deeper into things and make it even more interesting. To me, the most interesting one is the luring aspect, which we also had in Dragonflight, it making a return in the War Within, but usually the most gold is being made from tanning, especially now that they have gotten some initial feedback from luring. Luring was really overpowered at the start of Dragonflight, but a lot of the overpoweredness of luring was fixed in Dragonflight, which I would assume they learned their lesson here, and they keep those fixes for the War Within. That being said, if it's still as broken in the War Within as it was at the start of Dragonflight, then luring will be absolutely massive. So keep an eye out for my Patreon page. Like, if you want to make more gold in the War Within, check out my Patreon, alternatively my War Within Goldmaking guide when that comes out. If you want to make more gold, I will show you exactly what to do with every single profession, and I'll show you the best farms to do as well. We're going to find a lot of hyperspawn farms for both skinning and every other type of farm out there. So once again, if you want to have early access to gold farms, the best farms out there, check out my Patreon or my gold making guides. They will both be linked in the video description and the pinned comment. That way you can support me further, and by doing so, I can guarantee that I will do my best to help you make as much gold as possible. Once again, we made millions of gold in Dragonflight. We made about 50 million gold, like me personally, I made 50 million gold in the first few months of Dragonflight, and we had people in my gold making Discord from the Dragonflight gold making guide that made hundreds of millions of gold. Like, we found the most broken ways to make gold, which did eventually get fixed, but we were able to abuse them for a bit beforehand. Either way, once again, if you want to make more gold, check out my Patreon page or my gold making guides. They'll be linked down below, and as always, I want to thank you for watching the video. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and me talking about skinning. If you did, leave a like down below, let me know in the comments as well which talent tree you're going for, tanning, harvesting, or luring in the War Within. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video very soon.